Hello, everyone. Meeting to order, 6 o'clock. And welcome to our May 10th, Happy Mother's Day, National School District Board meeting. Jaslyn Kala is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, so please listen carefully for her.
Good evening. We will start the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Put your right hand over the heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Thank you very much.
Para las personas que necesitan intérprete, nuestra traductora Maggie Suárez está aquí atrás por si ocupan una traducción alterna a la junta de hoy.
Okay. Would you please take roll call for us?
Ms. Avalos,
Present.
Ms. Bettencourt Castellanos,
Present.
Ms. Pizarro,
Present.
Ms. Peak,
Present.
and Ms. Ramirez.
We are going to begin with a few presentations. Presentation 5B is being pulled because the employee was not able to be here. So just so you know ahead of time. Presentation 5, or item 5A, presentation by Ira Harbison School students. Ira Harbison students are giving us a presentation about the recent value-added upgrades to the multisensory playgrounds at Ira Harbison School and the positive impacts of environments that support the needs of our diverse learners.
Good evening, members of the National School District Board of Education, Superintendent Brady, and Executive Cabinet. My name is Michaela Saunders, and I'm a sixth grader from Mrs. Ward's 5th and 6th grade class at Ira Harbison, and I would like to take a moment to introduce my fellow scholars. Ubaldo Reyes from Mr. Alvarado's 6th grade class, Alfredo Armenta from Ms. Hernandez's class, and Jaslyn Alcala from Ms. Hernandez's class. This year, we were pleasantly surprised with the addition of a beautiful multi-sensory playground at Ira Harbison Elementary School. The multi-sensory area provides the Ira Harbison community an opportunity for a variety of preferred activities. This is our herb garden that includes basil and rosemary, and it also provides a lovely smell around the area, and it makes the area around it and our campus look more lively and colorful, and it is very good for people with visual needs who want to look at something calming and relaxing. This is our floral garden. It also provides a lovely smell when you're around it, and it adds a pop of color to the campus when you're walking by or when you're looking at it from afar. And it is also good for calming students, and it's good for, I don't know, I guess looking. These are our seats with the umbrellas. This is very good, and it's just good for the students with who don't want to participate in any physical activities, and it's where they can sit and have conversations with their fellow scholars, where they can also meet new people and express their feelings. But it is also a place where they can catch up on their work if they need to catch up on anything in class. These are musical instruments where the students can express their feelings using the power of music, and it provides a lovely sound, and it is very relaxing. It also adds a pop of color because it's a rainbow.
Good evening. My name is Ubaldo Reyes, and I am pleased to share with you our new multisensory areas in Ira Harbison Elementary School. This year, as a student on the Superintendent's Roundtable, we have been focused on the 17 global goals. The two goals we thought aligned best with our new play areas was global goal number 4, quality education. Research shows that schools with multisensory play areas see a rise in positive behavior and academic success. Another goal we saw fit for our new areas was goal number 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. Students who play in these structures feel safer, making them more connected to their peers and adults around the campus. Now for some benefits of our multisensory playgrounds. Through an accessible and sensory-rich environment, inclusive and multisensory playgrounds instill a sense of independence and confidence in all children. Through interaction with peers who have unique abilities, scholars learn how to work out conflicts peacefully and respectfully by listening to their peers' ideas and feelings and following rules set by the group. All scholars can now be included in play and develop social awareness. Because of adaptive and modified playground equipment, scholars with disabilities are encouraged to try new activities. For example, the inclusion of soft play structures without special access ramps promotes these structures by children with a wide range of mobility needs, including those on wheelchairs. Interaction in inclusive play settings is essential for children with different needs who may be at risk for isolation and bullying. Well-designed and inclusive multisensory areas encourage friendships between different groups of children, which promotes awareness and acceptance of diversity throughout the community.
Good evening. My name is Alfredo Armenta, and I will be presenting some of what the Ira Harbison scholars have to say about our multisensory play areas. I like how drums are noisy and we can play music. I like the grass. Thankfully, it's not real grass and it's not muddy. We also save water. I like that we have more shade. It protects us from the sun and we have a place to eat. I like that there are lots of plants around. They look and smell amazing. I like how fun it is and it has cool games. Check out our new and upcoming value-added playgrounds. This is the upper playground and we are excited for a grand opening. Good evening, my name is Jasmine Alcalá and I'm going to present to you some recommendations. Number 1, provide multi-sensory spaces for other schools in the district. Number 2, have principals buy board games, puzzles, and other materials for students who do not enjoy sports. Number 3, provide shaded benches for scholars who are unable to participate in sports. Number 4, continue to add plants and enhance the beauty of our campus. Thank you, members of the board and executive cabinets, for your value-added commitment to the scholars at Ira Harbison. You are also welcome to come to visit us at any time.
We sometimes have questions, so hold on. Board members, do any of you have questions or comments to make to our scholars from IRA?
Yes, I had the pleasure to be there once, and I, believe it or not, I have my inner child that is not been dead yet, so I've been there, and I feel like a child now, release of all the stress from the day, and thank you for the invitation, because I'm really, we visited the playgrounds, and they're really amazing, and I played the drums, and they're noisy, but they're really release my stress for the day, so thank you so much for presenting to all of us, so we can be able to have an opportunity to be there once. Hopefully you can get our guide. Is that okay? Can you be our guide one day? And we can play drums together. Yeah, okay. Thank you so much for the presentation.
Yeah, she even smelled all the flowers. She touched all the sensory plants. I got pictures to prove it.
Okay, I have a question for you. You suggested for those students who are like, I really don't feel like running around and getting sweaty today, board games, puzzles, and other materials. And you said that they should talk to their principal. Have you talked to your principal and made some suggestions about board games or puzzles or other things that you guys are interested in? Okay, and so I got one nod. What about the rest of you?
I like running around, so.
Oh, okay. Now, our one request though is you cannot steal all of the Uno skip cards, or the Uno reverses to play on your friends when you're like, hey, Uno reverse, back at you, because we know you do that. You cannot steal all those cards.
No promises.
Mrs. Avalos?
I don't have any questions, but I want to know everything that you've learned about the plants and the flowers. Do any of you grow any flowers or plants at home?
Oh, I tried.
Volunteer and a lot of green thumbs here.
Mrs. Betancourt Castañeda, any questions or comments?
I have a comment, but I'm just excited to hear how excited you guys are about the new upgrades. And looking forward to a tour as well. And you guys, like Ms. Lizarraga said, you guys can be our guide, and that way you can make us aware of how you guys love it, and maybe that'll be a model for some of our other campuses. So thank you for sharing tonight.
Now is our reward for you to be coming bravely here talking. And I would like to congratulate you for being champions on advocating for this amenities in the whole school. So thank you so much for doing that. And talking about stress relievers, right? We having some mandalas for you. You might know what it is, but this is just also relief stress. And this is one for every single one of you. There you go. Whenever you feel like you're not doing homework, just do this one, okay? So, Donna and myself have 3 books already, almost filled out. So, Alfredo Armenta. Just pass it on to that, and congratulations, pass up the podium so we can have a picture. And Kayla Sanders. So, Kathleen Alcala. And a well-spoken Orlando, I'm really looking forward to see you come singing down there with us. Thank you so much. And a round of applause for these leaders, please.
Dr. Boddicker. Okay, I'm gonna be on the other side. Ms. Hernandez. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Okay, thank you, everybody. Item 5C is to recognize Arturo Becerra, District Office Groundskeeper. If you're here, are you able to come to the front? Okay. All right. Board President Sarmiento, who was not able to be here tonight, wanted to present Mr. Becerra with this staff recognition for his selfless act of beautifying the area around the tree planted in honor of Louis Roman at Pomeroy School. See, one of the things about our groundskeepers, and we often don't think about it, as we just arrive and go, from our schools. But they are the people who make it a place that welcomes our children every day. And so whether it is the plants that are thriving, whether it is the fact that they have cleaned and swept up, there aren't any weeds, all of those things, they are there early, they stay late. They're the ones who beautify our spaces so that you guys, when you come to school, feel like it's a nice place to be. And so for Mr. Becerra, he's gone a little bit above and beyond with that to take care of a tree that had been planted in honor of someone. And so to make sure that that tree is taken care of and that it thrives in memory of this individual. So again, Mr. Becerra, we are thankful to you. All right, now, this is the point at which we tell all you guys that you can go if you would like to, because we're going to start doing all the business stuff. Okay, so business stuff can be fun and interesting sometimes, and other times it can be a lot of yeses and nos, and that's all we get. It's up to you. If you want to learn all about the stuff, you stay.
Thank you so much, leader.
Thank you for coming, families, thank you for being here and sharing your time and your students with us.
Thank you, thank you.
This is the moment at which we usually feel abandoned, but we move forward every night anyway. Item number 6 is public communications. Public communication provides the public with an opportunity to address the board regarding an item on the agenda or other topic. Anyone wishing to address the board shall submit a request for oral communications card. Cards are available near the entrance to the boardroom and are to be submitted to the recording secretary. A member of the public who wishes to address the board on any such matter is limited to 3 minutes for one matter, up to a maximum of 5 minutes for all closed and open session matters. There shall be a limit of 20 minutes for any matter unless such time limit is waived by a majority vote of the board. Members of the public may not yield any time to other speakers. No board action can be taken. So wait, okay. Do we have any other speakers? Okay, so this is the one. So if one individual, we will ask you to wait until the item comes up. Thank you. Item 7A is to accept the agenda. May I have a motion?
I make a motion to accept the agenda.
I second the motion.
I have a motion by Mrs. Avalos and a second by Mrs. Lizarraga. Any concerns or discussion? Okay, we call the vote.
Ms. Avalos? Ms. Whittenburg Castellana?
Yes, on item 8.
Ms. Lizarraga?
Aye.
Ms. Reed?
Yes.
And passes unanimously.
Okay. Item 8, to approve the consent agenda and routine items of business. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and will be acted upon in one action by the board. It is understood that the superintendent has recommended approval for these items. There will be no discussion prior to the time the board votes on the motion unless members of the board, staff, or public request specific items to be discussed and/or removed from the consent agenda. All items approved by the board will be deemed considered in full and adopted as recommended. Board?
I move to approve the item 8 for consent agenda.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Ms. Lizarraga and a second by Mrs. Avalos. Call for the vote?
Ms. Avalos,
Yes.
Ms. Bettencourt Castañeda,
Yes.
Ms. Lizarraga,
Yes.
Ms. Gay,
Yes.
five passes unanimous.
9, Section 9 is general functions. 9A is to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting held on April 26, 2023. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of April 22nd. I was absent that day, I'm sorry, I can't make a motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Avalos.
So that means I can start the motion again. So I move to approve, item A. Sorry,
I will
9A.
second that. I will second that motion.
I have a motion by Ms. Lizarraga and a second by Ms. Bettencourt Castañeda. Any discussion?
No.
Okay. Call for the vote?
Ms. Avalos,
Yes, I voted, yes.
Ms. Bettencourt Castañeda,
Yes.
Ms. Lizarraga,
Aye.
Ms. Gay,
Yes.
five passes unanimous.
I'm just going to ask Mrs. Avalos and Mrs. Bettencourt Castañeda, neither of you were here for this next item, so we will not have quorum.
That is correct.
So are you, may I ask if you're intending to abstain based on the fact that you are not here?
That is correct. I would, my intentions are to abstain since I was not present.
Same here.
Okay, then we will need to postpone this item 9B until a later time because we cannot vote on it. Thank you.
Do we have to make an adjustment from the previous item since Mrs. Avalos wasn't there? She's abstaining this time, but not last time?
I did, I said I didn't vote.
I think it was recorded as,
Oh, it was recorded as.
You
all
wanted
votes.
it in the motion.
You pulled your motion, I'm sorry. I should have clarified and I did not. So yes, it will be 3 votes and Mrs. Avalos will abstain.
Okay.
Or has said she will abstain. Thank you. Item 9C, to approve the minutes of the special board meeting held on May 3rd, 2023.
motion to approve?
I second it.
Okay. And all of us are able to vote on this one. Okay. So I have a motion by Mrs. Bettencourt Castañeda and a second by Mrs. Lizarraga. With any discussion?
No.
Okay, call for the vote.
Ms. Avalos,
Yes.
Ms. Bettencourt Castañeda,
Yes.
Ms. Lizarraga,
Yes.
Ms. Gay,
Yes.
five passes unanimous.
Item 9D is to adopt resolution 2223.36 regarding the absence of board member Barbara Avalos due to performing designated services for the district. Do I have a motion for this?
I move to adopt the resolution 22-23-36.
I'll second that.
Okay. All right. Call for the vote, please.
Ms. Avalos,
Is this one you need to abstain from since it's about you?
It should be recused.
Yes, same.
Okay.
yes.
I think that we've had this conversation that we need to recuse ourselves from this particular item when it pertains to ourselves.
Okay, I apologize. That's on me.
What should we do?
Typically, we step out of the room.
You want me to get
Oh,
up
wait,
and
but
put
I-
it something to do?
Pardon? We already have the motion on the floor, so we'll skip you, Mrs. Avalos.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Bettencourt Castañeda,
Yes.
Ms. Lizarraga,
Yes.
Ms. Gay,
Yes.
five passes 3 yes, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
All right. Item 9E is to discuss the availability of translation services for National School District Board meetings. The governing board will discuss the availability and process for translation services for National School District Board meetings. We do have a request for oral communication from Lisa Yegan. You have also requested extra time for bilingual translation and communication. We do have our translator here, our interpreter or translator, what's the proper word to use?
Translator.
Thank you, just making sure. And so she is able to, or translation services are available to everyone.
Well, I've already prepared my Spanish version. Is it okay if I use mine? Would that be okay?
The will of the board?
I understand Spanish.
Yes, you understand Spanish. I'd like to read it in both Spanish and English so that the audience and the population of our parents can understand when they're watching from home.
I'm going to go ahead and ask for the board to formalize it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I vote that she speaks in both languages, like you said, so that everybody that's listening to it on the Zoom or the YouTube, whatever it is, will understand exactly what you're saying and what you mean.
Okay, motion from Mrs. Avalos for extended time for translation.
Yeah,
I believe we do have an interpreter, so I think we should have our interpreter simultaneous do speak in Spanish while she's doing English, since we do have her present.
and it can be the other way around.
That's only for somebody in here that doesn't understand, isn't it? But she wants it to be sure that whoever is listening to the meeting will be able to hear from her herself in English and in Spanish, and an interpreter. So she's already here today.
I will, since you made a motion, I need to have a second for it before we have discussion. So if we,
Just for clarification, she motioned for for the speaker to be in both English and Spanish, and the translator can be doing it vice versa in English and Spanish as well. So I don't know that would be the motion for.
I made a motion that she speak in English and in Spanish.
Yeah.
So whoever is seeing this on the computers will be able to understand exactly what you're saying.
Okay.
I do believe our-
Translator would be- Excuse me, I believe the translator would be for here, for someone who did not understand English, but I think we all understand English.
Okay.
I believe.
I mean, I don't
I-
mind, as long as there is translation, that's I don't mind for me. It's okay for me to do it both languages, and then the translator can do
it's also a request for extended time.
extended time. I do.
I just want to make note that our YouTube has translation capability. So if somebody who is not able to understand English can make that translation currently without having to have it translated in Spanish live.
And also there's capacity for more languages than other than Spanish, which is the translation that we're providing.
Correct.
So
Title.
we have a motion on the floor for Mrs. Avalos. Do we have a second?
Yes, we do have a second.
So second for Ms. Yegan to be allowed to speak both in English and in Spanish to have extended time?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm not
we
being
have had some discussion. I'm going to call for the vote.
Can we also discuss how much time we're extending it? Is it the same amount of time?
I believe yes, it was 3 minutes for, approximately 3 minutes for each. Ms. Yegan was what I had understood. So that you would have time for both, so it would be 5 to 6 minutes total. Okay. So I have a motion on the floor for Mrs. Avalos with a second by Ms. Lizarraga to allow Ms. Yegan to have approximately 6 minutes in order to speak both in English and Spanish what she would like to convey to the board. I need to call for the vote.
Ms. Avalos?
Yes.
Ms. Bettencourt Castañeda?
Yes.
Ms. Lizarraga?
Yes, so.
Ms. Reed?
Yes.
Yeah, that's unanimous.
Mhm.
Thank you, Ms. Yegan, for waiting for us to sort that out.
Good evening and thank you for adding this long overdue topic to the agenda. Buenas tardes y gracias por agregar este tema pendiente desde hace mucho tiempo a la agenda. I am a daughter, sister, wife, teacher to English learners, and as a National City teacher where 60% of the student population are English learners with English learner parents, I am asking you to work together to remove language barriers. Soy hija de, hermana de, esposa de, maestra de, estudiantes de aprendices de inglés y como maestra de National City, donde el 60% de la población estudiantil son aprendices de inglés, con padres aprendices de inglés, les pido trabajar juntos para eliminar las barreras del idioma. With the nearly 60% population of English learners, National City parents are most likely limited English proficient. These NSD parents who live, work, and pay taxes in their state are unable to freely communicate with their school district or even monitor district activities, as is the intent of the Brown Act. The communication barrier cuts off and excludes people from mainstream society. Parents who are limited English proficient are a protected class under state and federal laws. Con una población de casi 60% de estudiantes de inglés, lo más probable es que los padres de National City tengan un dominio limitado del inglés. Estos padres de National City que viven, trabajan y pagan impuestos en su estado no pueden comunicarse libremente con su distrito escolar o incluso monitorear las actividades del distrito, como es la intención de la ley Brown. La barrera de la comunicación aísla y excluye a las personas de la sociedad en general. Los padres que tienen un dominio limitado del inglés son una clase protegida bajo las leyes estatales y federales. Board meetings are difficult systems to understand for most English-speaking parents and even teachers. LEPs find it even more difficult to grapple with. As a result, school system structures and institutional practices are less accessible for LEP parents. Las reuniones de la Junta del Board son sistemas difíciles de entender para la mayoría de los padres y maestros que hablan inglés. A los padres con dominio limitado del inglés les resulta aún más difícil lidiar con eso. Como resultado, las estructuras del sistema escolar y las prácticas institucionales son menos accesibles para los padres con dominio limitado del inglés. Under the Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, failure to provide language access represents discrimination on the basis of national origin. Language access is a civil right and is necessary to ensure those who are limited English proficient have equal access to information and activities. Según el título 6 de la Ley de Derechos Civiles de 1964, la falta de acceso lingüístico representa discriminación basada en el origen nacional. El acceso al idioma es un derecho civil y es necesario para garantizar que las personas con dominio limitado del inglés tengan el mismo acceso a la información y las actividades. In addition to the language barriers, LEPs face stigma, discrimination, and systemic social disadvantages. Además de las barreras del idioma, las personas con dominio limitado del inglés enfrentan estigma, discriminación y desventajas sociales sistémicas. Without language accessibility, a large segment of the population is unable to enjoy the same civil rights protections afforded to all other citizens. National school districts' linguistically isolated populations don't get to freely and equitably access and utilize public services available to the English-speaking public. Sin accesibilidad al idioma, un gran segmento de la población no puede disfrutar de las mismas protecciones de derechos civiles que se otorgan a todos los demás ciudadanos. Las poblaciones lingüísticamente aisladas de National City no pueden acceder y utilizar de manera libre y equitativa los servicios públicos disponibles para el público que habla inglés. There is also a stigma attached to being a monolingual non-English speaker. LEPs do not know about their right to an interpreter in many instances. Furthermore, low literacy rates can exacerbate language barriers. También existe un estigma asociado a ser un hablante monolingüe que no habla inglés. Muchas veces personas con dominio limitado del inglés no saben acerca de su derecho a un intérprete en muchos casos. Además, la baja proporción de habilidad de lectura puede exacerbar las barreras del idioma. Disparate harm is unintentional discrimination. Language barriers result in exclusion from public programs, delays or denials in services, and inaccurate or incomplete information. This gap in access has real-life consequences for everyone involved, including non-LEPs. Not only is it a violation of the law, but language barriers prevent LEPs from fully integrating and contributing to society. LEP parents are not able to fully be involved in their child's education. They cannot freely communicate with teachers or school staff. They cannot freely decide to attend a board meeting and actually understand the discussion and feel like they belong. El daño desigual es discriminación involuntaria. Las barreras del idioma resultan en la exclusión de los programas públicos, retrasos o denegaciones de servicios e información inexacta o incompleta. Esta brecha en el acceso tiene consecuencias en la vida real para todos los involucrados, incluidos los que no son personas con dominio limitado de inglés. No solo es una violación de la ley, sino que las barreras del idioma impiden que las personas con dominio limitado de inglés. I am almost done, but I respect your decision and I respect your time. I think I got my point across.
Thank you. So item 9E is to discuss the availability of translation services for National School District Board meetings. I want to remind you of the purpose that Ms. Yeager was speaking to. Our current practice for translation services at National School District governing board meetings is as follows. Again, specific to our board meetings. Members of the public who require translation services to participate in the meeting should contact the superintendent's office at 619-336-7705 at least 48 hours in advance of the meeting for information on such services. This item was requested by a member of the public requesting an update to existing practice, which is we're allowed to do, just so you know. Trustees will discuss this request in light of current practices and applicable laws. Board, we do have some information, I believe, from the superintendent that she has gathered, knowing that this agenda item was coming. So go ahead, Dr. Brady.
Yeah, so good evening, board members. In your packet on your dais in the blue folder, you'll find an overview. And I believe, Trustee Gates, you have some copies if members of the public would like to follow along in the yellow folder next, or no, in your folder. You have some extras?
Would anyone like one?
In this one?
Anyone else?
Or Dr. Johnson could hand them out maybe.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Johnson.
So, as we look at the dawning of technology, this is a really wonderful time for being able to have inclusive practices. We in National School District always in our parent meetings have our translator there for our DPAC, our DLAC, for our PTA meetings. We provide translation services to our parents for IEP meetings. But as our speaker mentioned, board meetings are definitely an area that are difficult to follow, even if it's just in any language, because they have a lot of laws and rules accordingly. So I just wanted to remind the board of our English learner needs in our district and what translation services are available to our families. So on page 1, you'll see that the languages spoken in National School District, we do have 53.6%, a little less than 54% of our students designated as English learners. Now, that varies in their ability to speak English. Not all of them are limited English proficient, but that means that they all have another language spoken in the home, or their language was another language other than English when they were born. English learners represent 23 identified languages, as you see from the chart below. 87% of the English learners speak Spanish. 7% of Filipino language, either Filipino or Tagalog, and 21 other languages representing 0.01 to 0.05 of the total amount of English learners. 88 additional students total, that's about 3.5%, speak other non-English languages. And what that means is that their language wasn't represented in this chart. So they just fell into the other non-English languages. On the second page, Trustee Gates already mentioned our current practice, which is notifying the superintendent's office for anyone wanting to come here during the board meeting and participate in any language. So you saw that there are many, many different languages, and from our own demographics, it could be anywhere close to 100 different languages if each of those 88 students speak in a unique language. We're just not sure because it's lumped together. Yes, sorry?
Sorry to interrupt.
No.
Lumped together, that's by census information.
I think it's by the CalPADS data when they register. It's what languages are available. It's the state.
And
It's how the
out of
state.
our hands.
It's out of our hands.
Okay,
Yes. So on the second page, you'll see somebody might ask, if I can't read that in English, how would I even know that I should call the superintendent's office and request that? And so a notice of translation services is found on our district website. When you go to our district website, you can translate into one of 115 different languages. And as all websites, you can see at the top, there's the little translate button, and you can choose a language, and then it will translate that portion of our website. So that somebody looking for translation might be able to find it that way. On the top of page 3, you'll see what that would look like if you were to go to our website. At the very top, you see the Google Translate. If you were to select Spanish, it would be our board meetings and that Servicios de Traducción, translation services, right there in Spanish. If you had picked Russian, you would be reading that in Russian. If you picked Japanese, you would be reading that in Japanese up at the top. Now, if you clicked into an agenda, would you be able to, we moved to our new website. Oh, when did we move to the new website? A couple years ago now, 2019 or so. We've had that capability, which is something before 2019 we didn't have. In May of 2022, we switched from the California School Board's Agenda Online system, which did not translate in real time, to a new Gamut system that's powered by Simbly. And in this new system, there's 32 different languages that you can choose. And again, it's up at the top. You can see this exact agenda item that we are talking about right now translated into Arabic. So if I spoke Arabic and I read Arabic, I could translate that and follow along on the agenda and know that we were talking about this item as well. In July of 2021, you remember during the pandemic, we started using Google Meets for all of our board meetings, and it became popular. People started to come to our board meetings. We would typically have board meetings to empty rooms. And after the pandemic, we started to have more interest in what the board was doing. And that's when Mr. Lucero in the back told us that we could use YouTube. And you remember his presentation. He said, if you choose YouTube, then you could use the closed caption feature, in which there is 125 different languages where you can click the closed caption at the bottom, choose your language, and that would allow the subtitles for the meeting to, while somebody is talking, be playing in the language of your choice. And Mrs. Gates, I picked Afrikaans for this one from our last board meeting. If you were to go back, you can watch it and follow along in Afrikaans, because I know that's something that you are familiar with. We do have available interpretation in addition to employing our Spanish translator. The board every single year approves an annual contract with native interpreting right now, contract 3931. That could vary, the vendor could vary, but right now and for the last several years, it's been native interpreting. That was brought to the board last June in 2022. You should expect to see it again on the annual contract listing. At this time, it's up to $40,000 out of the LCAP for this year. If we were to get close or look like we were exceeding that amount, as we do with other contracts, we would bring it to the board to increase that amount, but we need to budget. So we put an amount based on prior usage of that account or of that contract. And again, that is what that 48 hours does. If somebody is from another country, such as, name one, China, and they needed to speak Mandarin, or India for Dr. Kraft, and they were to speak Hindi, we could call native translations and we could say, we have a parent, they speak Hindi, they speak Mandarin. Is there an interpreter available that could come to our board meeting? They'd like to be in the board meeting. And that's what that extra time is for, to be able to secure somebody and arrange for them to come to a meeting as well. Our board bylaw does allow any non-English speaker to receive the same opportunity to address the board. As you know, all public comments from each individual are limited to 3 minutes for any one matter, up to 5 minutes for all matters from any one person, unless the board waives that requirement as you did tonight. However, if somebody is a non-English speaker and is here with an interpreter that maybe we've arranged for them, or they've come with an interpreter, or Maggie's helping them, then that allows that time to be extended twice, so that that person can speak to the board and to hear the translation to the board to make sure the board understands what they're saying. And of course, we are always looking for ways that we can improve how we do things. And so we talked to Dr. Kraft after hearing this concern, and we asked if our translator could start coming to our board meetings, since, as you saw from the first page, 87% of our families of English learners are Spanish speaking. And so starting today, our governing board will have simultaneous Spanish translation at all board meetings moving forward in Spanish. But again, for other languages, that 48 hours can help us identify and secure someone to be here. So with that, just a reminder of all the wonderful ways that we're able to provide access to our families that speak other languages. And of course, we're open for discussion and input from the board.
All right, board members? Thank you, Dr. Brady. Oh, sorry, Ms. Lizarraga?
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy that they will be translator and happy to have Maggie on board. But I think would be a question about, not only that, but how about the public communications to the letters from the office, the district office to the parents. If a parent requests one time that it says, I don't understand either English or Spanish, what is the best route to get to you? I will be working with a 48 hours notice to you, so I have this translated. Or maybe an IEP meeting, maybe a conflict that is requiring translation. So how is going to be the best route for parents to know?
How do we let people know?
Right, everything, parents, when they sign up in their Synergy account or their Parent View account, select a language that they'd like to receive their communication in. The law does state that any school district with 15% or more of a particular language has to provide that in their native language. So everything that goes home instructionally, IEP meetings, things like that are always translated in Spanish for all of our Spanish speaking parents. And then the reason why we have the native interpretation is if, for example, we had an IEP meeting and somebody spoke French, we would send that out to get it translated in French, and we would get a French translator to attend the IEP meeting, sorry, an interpreter, thank you, to attend that IEP meeting. Do you want to add to that, Dr. Kraft?
Yeah, and the school sites are very aware of administration, so any pressing meetings, any legal compliance pieces, as the parents, request it, we well in advance set up all the paperwork as well as the interpretation services so that the parent is most comfortable and can speak freely in their mother tongue. And, and we've actually been quite successful. You have had a large group of students come and move in who speak, forgive me if I don't say it, Pashto. And so it was, and that is, present in our district. So we were able to get an interpreter for that and translator as it's a small group, but every parent needs the ability to speak freely about their children and from their heart and with the words that they want to use. So we want to make sure we provide that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, actually, because this is not the first time we approach this. The languages should not be a barrier to communicate with either the parent, and there's no way that the kids are translated for the parents. So that would be nice to all the public to know that there's ways to do it, and there's just a matter of letting whoever's involved know that there could be possibilities for these conversations to be happening. And I totally agree that language should not be a barrier. Thank you.
Any other members of the board? One of the things I know, go ahead, Mrs. Beckford.
I was trying to mute myself. I just want to say thank you for that information. I know that was very extensive, detailed and so on, but I just, it's good for our public to be able to have it readily available, because there might be some of our families that don't have this information, and presenting it here tonight will make them more aware. And I'm glad we have these things in place already, and we continue to learn it. So having an interpreter, I want to make sure I say that right, at our board meeting here tonight, it would be a benefit for our parents. I hope that maybe we can introduce this earlier on in the meeting, so that way while we are having our presentations, our parents can actually be part of that, as opposed to just the business part. And as you can see, we don't have much of an audience. So maybe we can share that information as soon as we open up as a meeting.
Thank you. I know that the state of California has had this discussion, and one of the things that they came back to a number of years ago was that there was that idea of reasonableness on the part of school districts and even hospitals and other such organizations for having people around based on that percentage number that they established. And according to the law, we're doing that. But I also have to agree and honor that there's the potential for continued marginalization of a group of people who's already isolated. And so the question is always, how do we do better than what is just reasonable? And so questions like, if we do know our families who have another home language, are we getting some letters out to them, maybe at the beginning of the year for sure, but some other letters throughout that address some of our major procedures? So for instance, like, I don't know, if you have someone who's looking at our website and they're like finding the translation button, while on the one hand, we are doing all of those things and they are set up, if they don't have a way to know to do that, or a way to know to ask, because we haven't told them that or sent something home that they can read in the first place, that keeps them from being able to use the tool that we have. So what about things like that letter home at the beginning of the year, a reminder letter, and when we go back after fall break, just some pieces along the way. If we have a new student come in who's speaking Farsi, we should have a trigger in place that kicks that, hey, we need to get that intro letter out to them. And it should also let them know for sure that they have the right, not the maybe, but the right by law to have someone at parent-teacher conferences, at IEP meetings, because the point is, some of our parents, they want to grow and learn too, but we all know that there's academic language that we use that creates a barrier. I hold parent-teacher conferences in Spanish, knowing that I'm going to circle around words and that the two of us are going to have to get together and hopefully come to a point, which begs another question. How positive are we that all our teachers know, A, that the law requires translation services and interpretation services for these meetings, and B, how to go about getting them? Because it should be that the second that an IEP meeting is triggered, it's just a rollout. It's not even a question. The parent shouldn't have to ask for that themselves. We should already be sitting there going, you know what? I already know your family speaks Farsi at home. We're going to call and set this up. And the note goes home, the email does go home in Farsi saying, do you need someone there? And if we don't get an answer back, maybe we have the person there anyway. I mean, realistically speaking, we'd be talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars if we had all 23 interpreters here every meeting, just hoping or wondering if people would come. But there's a lot that we should be doing in the day-to-day and could be doing, I would think. It's just, and we've received no pushback on this being the right idea. It's just, how do we do it better is the question. So the other thing is, and again, my Spanish is not perfect. Si tú miras esta junta ahora, call us. If you're watching and you have ideas, if you have some suggestions for how we do this job better, please contact our offices, call her, and shut that one down the line. But call, and if you have some ideas for practical solutions, and even if it's not the best, necessarily might not seem the most practical, we might need some out of the box ideas that would help us to do a better job at honoring our families. So, Dr. Brady?
Yes, what I forgot to mention, and you just reminded me, is obviously this is something that we do need to hear from our parents about. We have some systems in place. I think it's an opportunity to, like you said, we can grow and get better at with good ideas and when you hear from the needs of others. So I will be adding this as a topic to my parent roundtable meeting on May 30th. And interestingly, that meeting, I know Trustee Lizarraga came to several of them, and I think Trustee Betancourt Castañeda came to a few of them. And the parents, it's a parent-driven agenda. So they come up with the agenda items that are on their mind. One outcome was there was a lot of conversation around inclusion and special education. And so Dr. Kraft and her team designed 4 workshops for parents to discuss special education needs for our parents in the month of May. Another thing that came out is we had translation there in English and Spanish, and some of the parents said, while we love the fact that you have translation, however, it makes the meeting twice as long. Would it be possible to buy a program like Zoom where you could have simultaneous translation and we could just hear the Spanish and we could talk about more things? We'd have more time to talk. So we did purchase Zoom. We've been using that. We've been doing the simultaneous translation and it's been working out great. So when you bring the ideas forward and you have a rich discussion about it, you can get better. And so thank you to the board for the opportunity to talk with you about it, for our public comment, and we'll be bringing it to the parents for some additional information and to our staff, and try to always continue to build on good progress.
I have one more thought. Back to school nights. That's the beginning of the school year. We could add, I know it might take a little time, but we could add a section on, for all parents as they meet and greet the principal. Quick show on how to use the translation services on the website for those parents who are able to come. Something that's just, it'll take us 5 to 10 minutes, but it would be 5 to 10 minutes really well spent, I think, if that's a possibility. Ms. Lizarraga?
Yeah, I have a question. Do you want to say something? Yeah. Should we have to turn this into a policy? Because I know that I'm talking about compliance. I don't know. Should we have to discuss it further or should we implement it kind of policy? Or what is it going to look like? It's just a discussion to the need because the need is there. We saw it on the data. So should we have to turn this into a policy maybe in the future? Or do we have something in place that we may not be aware of? So I don't know if we have that or we make it implement more.
So we do have a bylaw that talks about translations and it's listed on your report.
Okay. I read that part. I'm not sure how formal should be for policy.
Yeah, this one references, it's the 9323 that talks about the government code. When this summer, we will be having a policy workshop. It could be an opportunity to revisit that policy to see if we want to enhance it or make any additional changes to it. And maybe that will give us time to hear from the parents and come up with some potential next steps, and then we'll see what that looks like for policy.
Great, thank you.
Anything else from the board? From the team? All right, we'll move on to section 10, educational services. Item 10A, approve number CT 4051 with YMCA of San Diego County for expanded learning program services.
Motion to approve.
Okay.
I second the motion.
Okay. Dr. Kraft, anything we should know?
As the board knows, that you had previously approved the ELOP plan, the Expanded Learning Opportunity Program Plan, with funds coming from the state. We are partnering with YMCA San Diego County, sometimes they change, and to provide those additional extended learning opportunities activities. Probably the most significant additions that we are seeing are the intercessions and a summer, the Reach for Joy, and we are really pushing an increase of experiential activities during the sessions, which include, partnerships with other vendors for the activities to come to the kids and or the kids to go to travel to go to other activities.
Well, I have a motion from Ms. Bettencourt Castañeda and a second by Ms. Avalos. Any discussion from the board? Then call for the vote.
Ms. Avalos?
Yes.
Ms. Bettencourt Castañeda?
Yes.
Ms. Lizarraga?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
Mayor passes unanimously.
Item 10B, approve contract 4052 with Lego Education to provide activation services, professional learning, and virtual coaching. Dr. Kraft, anything we should know?
This is a program that we'll be using for our new STEAM program. One aspect of our STEAM program is the science, technology, engineering, math component, and the A stands for art. So Lego Education provides our students an opportunity to really engage in the engineering practices as defined by the California State Science Standards. It's hands-on. We do get a lot of feedback from our teachers that they are looking very much for their students to have those opportunities of hands-on building. It also is in alignment to our focus on academic conversations and oracy because they're working in teams, they're building, they're exploring, they're ideating, those types of opportunities. This particular component with the program allows us to set up for it. It is a one-time investment that is part of the Lego piece, but it's also storage and maneuvering and setting up the classrooms because there are a lot of parts, it's Legos. And so this will help our site set up some of the work, and then we'll be able to replicate it.
May I have a motion from the board?
I make a motion to approve.
I second with a question. What grade level we're talking about? I'm talking about small pieces for TK.
Oh.
I'm a mother, you know.
Yes, yes.
I need to make the question say how safe it is for little grades. Because we have different size Legos, so I'm a Lego doer myself.
Okay. Well, that's wonderful, Trustee Lizarraga, that you brought that up because later on in the agenda, you will see that we will be asking for an approval for a single source. Let me make sure. Sole source. And that is actually geared towards the younger kids, the component of that. They are the only providers of that level. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that the brick is for the littler kids, and I think they're bigger.
Okay.
But we'll watch and make sure nobody puts anything in their mouth.
I know for sure that
I'm a
question
mom
will
too.
arise from
Yeah.
parents.
It's a Mother's Day. We got to work that way.
Of course. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, I have a motion from Ms. Avalos, a second from Ms. Lizarraga. Please vote.
Ms. Avalos?
Yes.
Ms. Bettencourt Castellanos?
Yes.
Ms. Lizarraga?
Yes.
Ms. Gay?
Yes.
Mayor passes unanimously.
Item 10C, approved contract 4059 with San Diego County Office of Education for the Science Outreach Program Field Trip Agreement. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve item C.
I will second that motion.
Okay. Dr. Kraft, anything we should know?
Yeah, I did want to bring this to the board. Every year, this does come to us from San Diego County Office of Ed. And what this does is it makes it a little bit easier for our school sites to access these this list of activities that is provided by the county office. The school sites, through their SPSA plans and their school site council, can make decisions as to which ones they would like to participate, if not all, and how much money they would allocate. That would be brought to the board under the SPSA, and that's where the school site council would do the fiscal approval at the site, and then of course when you approve it, the SPSAs, that would be the fiscal approval for the board from the board.
Ms. Lizarraga?
I have a question. How effective is virtual lab, for example? Do we have data, if kids like it, kids don't like it, or how does it look like?
I've only experienced a Splash Lab,
Virtual.
the virtual. We encouraged hands-on, but we had Splash Lab that would come when I was principal, and it was very hands-on, engaging. The students really enjoyed it.
Okay.
I do believe in the past, the sixth grade teachers took advantage of the floating piece. And so I think, again, it's dependent on the school grade levels. They know these exist. And some of our pre-pandemic, it was frequent that was used, and now it's coming back. During the pandemic, they did have the virtual option. But we are in a position where we could go either way, depending on what the schools.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I do have a question. You stated that, we have the opportunity to do it in person and so on. But I'm noticing that there's the, 3 of them that have, are the Crazy Cow Forest and so on, have just virtual labs. Is that gonna be modified so that way we do have the in-person or hands-on?
However the county presents it is what we would have access to. But again, the sites would see this, they would know. And if they were oriented towards the virtual and felt that it was, worthwhile, then they could then make that decision.
Yeah, the reason I think we question is because there's a big difference in price when the virtual to in person. So I mean, also the logistics is different. That's what we question those things.
So are you saying that, for instance, one school could decide that they were doing, just say that everyone has an equal amount of money, right? And one group could say, well, we're going to do the Green Machine Lab and we're all putting all our money there. And then another school turns around and says, well, we actually like the idea of the 3 different virtual labs. We're doing Crazy Kelp, Curious Cephalopods, and Geology Rocks. But it's completely up to the schools. That's what you're explaining.
Yeah, it's basically up to the schools to choose, if they choose at all to partake in any of these. It's just now, the opportunity is here for them to access it should they choose to.
And we're just offering the opportunity, approving the opportunity. Correct.
Did you want to speak to that a little bit more, Dr.?
Dr. Brady?
Yes, during the pandemic, the county did develop several of the labs for the virtual environment to kind of give kids a little bit of science, a little feeling of hands-on lab work, knowing that they were at home learning. And people really liked it, and that's why they kept them. But you can see that the virtual labs are significantly shorter and they're significantly lower in cost. But what's good about them is that they're interactive, where they're actually talking in real time with the students. So it's kind of like when you have an author come in and they will virtually come and read their book and talk to the class versus, say, a Read Across America where somebody actually comes in your room to read. I think, if it's only a quick hour and you get an in-depth science lab, people might really like that. And then if they want that full-on immersive experience, they're going to pay a little bit more and make it a day, like a STEAM day, or in this case, a Green Machine Day or something. So, and I do believe that there might be like some virtual prep to some of them, and then they come on site. So it's not, you're not paying that full amount for a part, either virtual or on site.
Okay. Any other questions? Any comments? All right, let's call for I'm sorry, I have a motion from Ms. Avalos, a second from Ms. Betancourt Castaneda, and call for the vote.
Yes. Ms. Betancourt Castaneda.
Yes.
Ms. Lizarra.
Yes.
Ms. Dean.
Yes.
And 5-2.
Okay, item 11 is human resources. We have nothing specific for the agenda tonight. Item 12 is business services. We would like to welcome Dr. Burke. Thank you so much for joining us. We also want to honor Dr. Elizabeth Johnson for her care for us once again as our interim assistant superintendent of business services. May the 2 of you move forward brilliantly together in these next few weeks as you settle in and you go, hey, let me introduce you to this place. Item 12A, adopt resolution 22-23.31, declaring Lego Education United States as the sole source provider for Lego Spike and Brick educational products. Do I have a motion?
I have a motion to approve.
Resolution 22, 23, and 31.
Okay. I did not, yes, ma'am. You were at the same time as Betancourt Castaneda.
I made a motion to approve resolution 22-23.31.
Yes, ma'am. May I have a second? Thank you, Ms. Alves. Dr. Burke, what do we need to know?
This is not actually an order for purchase or acquisition at this time. It's just establishing that Lego Education United States will be the source when we do go to acquire products for the education program that we heard about from Dr. Kraft. And that we won't be outsourcing from international Lego products or buying knockoff Lego products, which I appreciate because I too am a parent, and my son says, "Oh wait, Dad, you got Letgos, not Legos." So they don't work as well. So I can definitely appreciate this item. And again, it's not to purchase; it's just to establish that it is the sole source provider for the products that we would be using.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board? All right, I have a motion by Ms. Betancourt Castaneda, a second by Ms. Davalos. Call for the vote.
Ms. Alvarez?
Yes.
Ms. Betancourt Castaneda?
Yes.
Ms. Zaragoza?
Yes.
Ms. Peak?
Yes.
And passes unanimously.
And now we are at item 13, Board Cabinet Communications. Mrs. Avalos.
Okay, I think that the children were absolutely amazing today and very brilliant and very well spoken. Like I asked them if anybody were planting any plants or flowers, and none of them were. But apparently they are gonna definitely have a green thumb when they get older, and they're gonna appreciate it a lot more. Maybe they'll get a little plant, or the suggestion was made, and they might go to Vons or Target or someplace and say, "Oh, let's buy a little plant," put it in their living room or kitchen or somewhere. Which I thought was great. As far as the translations that we should have, it's long overdue. We should have had that a long time ago, but it's never too late to have that done now here in our school district. Because we do have many different kinds of languages in our school district, and we have to do accommodate for every single one of them. So that makes me happy that we finally are doing something about that. Thank you. And happy Mother's Day. Happy Father's Day early. We will have a meeting in June, though. So.
All right, Mrs. Betancourt Castaneda.
Thank you. I'd like to also congratulate our students from Ira Harbison for their wonderful presentation. It's always nice to see them get excited about construction, I guess is what it is, because they're able to benefit from whatever upgrades we do, just to hear how excited they are because they have shade. So that's just amazing. So I look forward to having a tour from our students that presented here tonight. I know that's not something that's on the agenda, but maybe we can coordinate that. Very, very well spoken and very proud of our students. I'd like to say Feliz Dia de las Madres for those who celebrate here, celebrate tonight, and happy early Mother's Day for those who wait till Sunday to celebrate, or for those that get the opportunity to celebrate on birthdays. So some of us get that opportunity. So I wanted to wish everybody that. Also, an early birthday to my son, my eldest son, whose birthday is tomorrow. So happy birthday to my son, Pablo, but we call him Giovanni. And also happy early birthday to Dr. Brady, as she celebrates on Friday. And our board president, Alma Sarmiento, and she celebrates on Saturday. So happy birthday to everyone, and I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, and we will see you for next meeting. Thank you.
Mrs. Zafta.
Thank you. Well, that was exciting to see, because I love when they guide us through the Pledge of Allegiance. It's always nice to hear those familiar voices in here. Thank you all the Ira Harbison students who let us know that we have to be following the global goals, which is most likely the focus of Dr. Brady. So I will be a shout out for the students that they're very taking on leadership skills on that one. And that's a great opportunity. And I know there's some more goals for next year round table. We're going to be inclusive of new special ed students, hopefully for that next one. I'm excited to see that. I wanted to give a big shout out to Mrs. Straczynski for during the year. I was so excited to see. She started a quick recall about what we leave as a value added community that we are, and all the awardees and the retirees. It was very emotional for me to be there and knowing the fact that we have one student, and this is a super humongous milestone, that we have one of the students, Peter Bruce, that got perfect attendance throughout his kindergarten to sixth grade, and he was excited and shocked at the same time to see I did good all that. And so, what should I say? It was like, this is a great accomplishment. I just cannot wait until he sees that a milestone when he matures enough to realize how great he did with that perfect attendance and no absence, no tardies, no absence. So that's something that we have to highlight, that when the families get together, things real beautiful things happen for that part. So I was so excited to see. I want to shout out to the PTA at Ontario. They made a dance yesterday, and I was there dancing. I'm tired. I was tired in the morning, so it's like great dance, and it was a big switch between mommy and son dance, and they switched it to the whole family. And I was very surprised that there was a great turnout, and it was amazing to see all those families dancing together. They were very well dressed up, and they're dancing along. And the one of the teachers took over a DJ, and the teacher was selling stuff, and we had a great time. And I was there with my kids. Gabriel, my son, wasn't reluctant at the beginning. At the end, he ended up dancing with us too. And it's a great opportunity. They feel it. That sensation of family and community was lit there. So I reached out to the PTA and Alfreon, and also to the Mr. Banda. He did not dance whatsoever, but he was there shouting to the people. He said he will try. But thank you. I will hopefully to see that coming up in every single school, because they have to live that experience of having a community together. And also, I will be here to invite everybody to the round table on May 30th. As Dr. Brady said, the conversation is to be done is directly with her. So it's exciting to see that we can have that approach now, and in the openness to her. Thank you, Dr. Brady, for doing that. And other than that, happy Mother's Day to everyone. We're lucky to celebrate twice on Sunday again. So today we have to work. So thank you so much, and have a good evening.
Very quickly, Ms. Bencor Castaneda, you said you forgot something?
Yes, sorry. I also wanted to congratulate all of our retirees from our last board meeting and all the years of service. And also our student authors, the distinguished scholars, and our perfect attendance award recipient, but also our classified and certificated employees of the year. So I just want to make sure it doesn't go unnoticed, all the work that's being done on our district, and thank you so much for all that hard work. But also, welcome, Dr. Burke. This is your first official meeting here with us, so thank you so much for being here, and we definitely appreciate it. Thank you.
Speaking of, Dr. Burke.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for the kind welcome. And I just wanted to thank everybody for making me feel so welcome, and for making the transition as smooth as possible. Dr. Brady and the Board of Trustees have been fantastic, the entire cabinet. Liz Johnson has been a fine steward, and she's now playing the role of Sherpa, trying to get me up the mountain. I am climbing. She's ahead of me. But I have enjoyed it thoroughly and appreciate it greatly. I also wanted to say that we went to, Dr. Johnson and I went to Rancho La Nacion and Lincoln Acres this week, and had a chance to see kind of a before and after of the playgrounds. And we see a school that is still in need, and a school that has already been served. And it was inspiring to see what all students will have access to soon. And it just reminds us to stay the course and stick with it and get it done. So that's important work that needs to be done that we're looking forward to completing. I also wanted to touch on, I'm coming from Sweetwater Adult, and I am very much engrossed in this language conversation that we had tonight. I appreciate it tremendously. In Sweetwater Adult, we had over 5,000 English learners from this community from the South Bay who were taking English classes and CTE classes, working for living wage jobs in San Diego. So some potential there, I think, to collaborate with Sweetwater and have presentations at our campuses, and then perhaps at board meetings about the opportunities there, because I think, like you've mentioned, that not everybody knows that those opportunities are there in the community. And we have at Sweetwater Adult, right down the street in National City, the opportunity for all that people can get FAA drones licenses, they can become welders, they can learn English, they can get their high school diploma. So I think we can do a good job of pumping that for our families as well.
Dr. Kevin?
I too want to welcome Dr. Burke. Thank you for being here.
I look forward to working with you. I also want to thank our scholars from Ira Harbison. I just love the presentation and thank you for coming and presenting and showing us how it's transitioned and all of the great things going on at Ira. I also want to remind everybody that tomorrow we have a celebration for our induction teachers. Our induction teachers have completed 2 years of the program. They will be presenting their projects, end of year projects tomorrow at Rancho. And we have 7 teachers that will be completing their program from our district and 6 teachers that will also be celebrated from Integrity. So we are going to be celebrating tomorrow. I also want to say happy early birthday to Dr. Reedy and Alma Sarmiento, and Feliz Dia de las Madres, and happy Mother's Day to those that are celebrating today and will be celebrating on Sunday. Thank you for all that you do.
Dr. Kraft.
Thank you. I wanted to first start with the caveat. We really will focus on no choking, but but I did confuse the brick block for Lego with the Duplo. So we won't be getting the Duplo. The Duplo is the big ones that I was talking about, but I went brick block and then I went to block, which is the middle one. There's a little,
I used them all.
I was like, you're a Lego girl. I did want to clarify that. I apologize for that. I wanted to also welcome Dr. Burke. We are thrilled for you to be on the mountain with your Sherpa, with no cliffs, only summiting to the top, putting that flag in. And I wanted to thank the Ira Harbison students. I'm sorry, I forgot that. I'd like to thank the Ira Harbison students for such an engaging presentation. They did a beautiful job. I want to thank Maggie for being here and doing such an amazing job. And the note that she is a product of National School District Las Palmas. Woo-hoo. And so, and a parent also. And then I wanted to let everyone know that, as you know, we have our intramural sports. And we are having, and forgive me, I'm not sportsy. On May 11th, we're having the mini soccer cup.
Nice.
Is that what it is? The championships.
Probably football.
Can we go?
We'll take some.
Yes, it is at the Jackie Robinson YMCA. They're going to get transported. It's the big championship game. And it has the word cup in it. So just so you know. But they have been working hard and it's very exciting. So it will be at Jackie Robinson. And then lastly, I wanted to wish everyone a happy Mother's Day. And I wanted to say Maligayang Araw ng Mga.
Repeat, please.
Maligayang Araw ng Mga Inay. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Dr. Brady.
Well, I'd like to echo probably most of what you already heard here tonight, starting, of course, with Happy Mother's Day to all of our mothers out there, especially since it's Mexican Mother's Day today and you're here at a board meeting. So thank you for your service to our districts and all the mothers of all of our students. You've been hearing about so many wonderful things that are coming up. I just encourage you to keep checking the memo because as Dr. Kraft just mentioned about the soccer cup that's coming up, we have a lot of other wonderful activities. We'd love for the board to be a part of as many as possible. Thank you for those who were able to come out to the animation. At the last board meeting, I mentioned that we were having the animation festival on that Saturday. And we had the big red carpet event at the Magnolia Theater in El Cajon. And you know, there's always somebody behind the scenes that just makes sure everything happens and runs smoothly. And we just like to say thank you to Dr. O'Connor for being our liaison with David Heredia. You took a big vision from Dr. Kraft. And you made it happen. So we really, really appreciate it. It was amazing. If you didn't see Dr. Kraft on CNN, check one of your memos and you'll see we got a lot of people calling and commenting, hey, we saw your district. We saw National School District Kids on CNN. That was some pretty cool coverage. So we were very excited. Thank you for representing us in that. Our student roundtable, it was nice to see them tonight. Dr. Barragan incorporate the global goals. They had a charge to go out to their sites and have a global goal campaign, and to see it show up in their school presentation was full circle. That wasn't intended as a global goal presentation, but to see that that's stuck at Ira Harbison and to see that work, thank you for that. The Superintendent Roundtable will be at San Diego State on Friday, the 19th. We're taking the bus from here if you want to ride the bus with the students. If you don't want to ride the bus, just RSVP to Jocelyn and we'll get you a parking pass for San Diego State. We'll be doing another red carpet event at the Alumni Center. The students will be showing off their original music around climate action. So it's hip hop music. So we're excited to see that. And then I just like to say happy birthday to our board president Sarmiento and to Giovanni, and welcome to Dr. Burke.
All right. All the things. We have so many things. So along with those retirees that we honored at our 20, 25, 30, and 35, thank you, Ugo, for the 35 years. We had counted it up and it was 1,240 years of service to National School District. So, because there was one duplicate in there, so if you add it straight up, you count somebody twice. 1,240 years of commitment to this organization, to this community, to these families, to these children. And so that's really kind of fantastic. And continuing with that, we want to make sure Teacher Appreciation Week, I believe was last week, we want to state out loud very clearly how thankful we are for everything you do every day, early in the morning, all throughout the day as you're looking children in the eye, into the afternoon when you stay, at nighttime when you're at home still wondering if everybody's okay. Thank you for all of it. Our classified staff, classified appreciation is next week. And anyone who knows anything at all knows that the school district does not even begin to wake up without you. Because all those teachers, the moment that we say, oh, we are on the phone with HR and HR is taking care of making sure that that cough that we have or the sickness that we have is being covered by someone. They are here bright and early, not to mention our IT department who makes things run, our CNS department that feeds our children every day, our special ed services. I will miss Bruce, so I'm going to quit now and say all of you. And we also want to honor our administrators. I believe that's the week after. So it is the month of honoring. It's a good thing to do. And I hope that it helps you get to the end of the school year to know that we appreciate you and there's not that much time left. Dr. Barragan, thank you for sharing Michaela, Ubaldo, Alfredo, and Jaslyn with us today. But you have to do some shopping, it sounds like. Those games and puzzles. Target's not that far. You need to step up on that, so I'm encouraging that for you. I want to point out as it's very fun to have the kids talk about their playground and their space outside. Please know that that is one of our commitments, to better our playgrounds for our children, to have them be ADA accessible, to help our fields be something that is sustainable so that the kids are not out there just playing on dirt, that we have grass out there, turf out there for them so that their play can be enjoyable. Please know also that we are working around the school district to have that happen. Sometimes it takes time with, we have some older playground equipment and we know it. But we actually have to even take that down in the right way with the right authorization to do it. Know that we're working on it. And that is David Castillo, our director of everything that's anything that stands, and the maintenance and grounds crews as they continue to work to provide those opportunities and those places for our children. Let me see, my very fancy clothing. I apologize, kind of. I'm in the middle of Camp Marston for myself. And so I'm just gonna say, it's possible that the director of Camp Marston mentioned that he had talked to our assistant superintendent of educational services about opportunities. And the thing that I love about Dr. Kraft's commitment to our kids, so I'm not sure he got the whole sentence out about some opportunities possibly before she was already saying, yes, we'll see if we can't figure it out. Because the commitment to making sure our children have as much as we can possibly give them is high in our district. And it was really cool to have that conversation with him today. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Grandma's Day for those grandmas who are taking care of little ones. Happy Sister's Day for those sisters who are being the parent and home. Happy Auntie's Day for those aunties who are actually the ones who tuck children in bed at night. Happy Friends Day, because sometimes, for whatever reason, the person who is your mom is maybe not the person who gave birth to you, but they sure do love you. So to all of you who are playing that role, we are thankful for you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to President Sarmiento. And that's the end of our meeting.
Okay, it's called the Mini World Cup.